YouTube, take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. So excited to speak with Pablo, GM of Addict Miami, the premier destination for exclusive footwear and apparel in Miami. We're going to have a really great conversation about owning a sneaker boutique. So for all the aspiring sneaker entrepreneurs who are listening, if you have any questions, make sure that you drop them in the chat box throughout the conversation. And at the end, we're going to do a draw for a $150 gift card to Addict so you can cop yourself some heat. So make sure you're following yellowbrick.sneakers on Instagram because that's where we're going to be announcing a winner. So Pablo, very nice to meet you. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Catherine and I'm your host for tonight's live stream. So yeah, hope you're doing really well. Nice to meet you. I'm really excited to get into this conversation today.
Yeah, same here. Nice to meet you, Catherine. Thanks for having us.
Of course. So before we get into it, I'll tell you a bit about myself. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I work in marketing at Adidas. I also do some freelance consulting for brands and nonprofits, and I have a small business called Human Goods. Consider myself a huge sneakerhead, been loving sneakers since I was a little kid. And I'm also a Yellowbrick alumni. I took the Sneaker Essentials program a few years ago and have been pretty tight with the Yellowbrick fam ever since. So a little bit about me. And Pablo, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself as well? Tell us a little about your background, how you got to where you are today, and tell us a little bit about Addict.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I started in boutique work and basically this kind of line of work about 10 years ago. Joined very different stores before until I landed. What I really wanted to do was work for this type of sneaker shops, especially Addict, which is actually one of the oldest sneaker shops in Miami, other than a couple other ones that do basically what we do, but in a little bit more different way. We like to do a little bit more of upscale, mid-level sneakers, stuff that is really kind of hard to find in Miami. Believe it or not, Miami is actually a little bit hard to find cool sneakers. Actually, that changed about 2 years ago when all the resellers started taking over the market.
Right.
Yeah, which, it comes with the territory. But basically, we have opened Addict in 2004. We started our small shop in Harbour, which was actually a very nice shopping center. And then we opened our other location in Brickell, 2016. So we've been here for quite a while. Yeah, and we enjoy what we do.
Very nice. Appreciate hearing a bit about Addict, and love to know a bit about your role at Addict as well. I noticed that I checked out your LinkedIn, saw that you've had a couple roles at Addict. So to anyone who's listening and people who are looking to try and level up and what they're doing and organizations they work at, I'd love to hear a little bit about that progression that you had.
So I think like as any job that you join, you have to work yourself from the bottom to the top. So I started as a salesman, basically taking care of everyday business, customer service, online orders, basically anything that has to do with in-shop keeping, stockroom duties as well. It was a small team at the beginning, so it was basically just us and a couple of people. And as the company progressed and it grew, we started dealing with bigger brands, and we had a little bit more interest in high fashion. So then we decided to push it that way. So after that, did a couple of years in Harbour, and now I was able to join as a manager when they offered me the spot here in Brickell. So we opened up a brand new store, brand new mall. We actually opened like 2 weeks after the mall was open.
Oh, wow.
And took a lot of responsibility. But thankfully, my training had provided all the knowledge that I needed for that. So what I want to say is it's actually not hard. It's not difficult. You just have to be able to multitask and be goal oriented, I want to say. Yeah.
Okay, goal oriented. Write that down, everyone who's listening. So yeah, appreciate the insights. That's great to hear.
Of course.
You mentioned you started in sales, and you mentioned that you focus a little bit more on the high fashion. So when it comes to putting together a look, like I love to do a little mix of like high fashion, vintage, like no name, like a mix of everything. So you personally, like, what do you recommend when it comes to building a look? Like, do you start from the ground up? You start from the top down? Like, how do you approach that?
Yeah, so what we also double as kind of like stylists here, right? So basically you
Oh,
assess
amazing.
the client, and then you see what do they feel comfortable with, what they like to wear already, and then you kind of help them upgrade that look a little bit and push them out of their boundaries, show them new things that they might usually not be comfortable wearing. Myself, I'm just a little bit more classic. I really like vintage clothing. I follow a lot of Japanese trends. Right now there's kind of like a revival of like 1950s, 1960s kind of like Japanese trousers and button-ups and just very plain, well-made clothing. And then of course the main focus of everything should be the shoes.
Agreed with you on that one.
Exactly. So I do like to work my way from the bottom up, as any sneakerhead should. Yeah.
I definitely appreciate that, and I can definitely say the same. And usually start from the ground up too when it comes to like my fit pics and stuff. Usually start with the sneakers, show those off, and then get to the rest of the look.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned loving like Japanese style and styling your clients based on like what might make them step out of their comfort zone a little bit. And I'm sure that involves like dabbling into new trends and stuff. So tell us a little bit about some of the trends that you're forecasting or feeling for this season.
So I have been seeing a lot of basically like hiking gear going on.
Absolutely.
Right. So I myself dabble into that heavy. We carry Stone Island, which is one of my favorite brands when it comes to outerwear. We also deal with On Running, which is a great running company, but now they have branched out into basically hiking. I want to say tennis as well, now that Roger Federer is part of their roster.
Great acquisition.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what I see happening is kind of like still remaining within that hiking outdoorsy, but now people are looking a little more tailored. Streetwear is still big, but I see a lot of more interest happening into what's next, which trends are actually hard to foretell. But I see a lot of boots coming in. Like I see a lot of people wearing now kind of like not cowboy boots, but maybe kind of like gardening boots in that sense. I know that Balenciaga has a couple of things
Oh yeah, of course.
sense. I've seen a lot of leather lately. Sadly, Miami is just a little too hot for those looks, but I do see it happening a lot everywhere else. And hoodies are still king, to be honest, in my opinion. Yeah, even in Miami, when it's 90 or 100 degrees, people still wear hoodies. They'll do shorts, but then you see the sweat dripping, and it's all about looking good and feeling good.
Yeah, all about the drip anyway. And I've also, when I was in Miami, I saw a lot of people with the like take one sleeve out so that they can get a little bit of air, I guess, because it's too hot, but they still get to rock the look.
Absolutely.
And totally hear you on. Yeah, of course, always for the look. And I definitely am seeing a lot of like the like rain boots aesthetic and like the elevated rain boot. And I feel like to your point about like outdoor, and so many brands are stepping into it and really putting their like an elevated lens on it, which I think has been really cool. And I definitely love to take part in that.
I think it actually pushing people to actually be outdoorsy, because you have to do, what are you going to do with all this gear if you can't take it somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if we ever have to, when we quarantine, we miss being in the outdoors. So I feel like we
what we did was wear basically like sweatpants and long sleeves and hoodies and socks. So that was actually a really great era for us, despite the circumstances, of course.
Yeah, feel you on that. You mentioned Miami style, and like people still wearing hoodies even if it's a little bit too hot. I'm sure you're super up on game when it comes to Miami style and streetwear. So when it comes to Miami style and streetwear and sneakers, like how would you describe the influence that Miami has on not just the US, but also the rest of the world?
So actually, since a lot of artists are based here now, and that it's musicians and artists, pretty much anywhere around the world, anybody can look into Miami and think of floral and palm trees and just kind of like this resort luxe look. but it's getting a little bit more refined, which I'm really enjoying lately. So we're using very lightweight cottons. We're using nylons. Most people just rock basically like bathing suit shorts.
Right.
Yeah, and then so that's basically what makes your fit. And then you either do a button up or you can do a tank top underneath, and base it off of that. Sunglasses are a must in Miami. That's really what really makes it look. And it's needed. It's a little bit very sunny here. So I'm seeing and the biggest shoe I want to say that it's being rocked in Miami right now, it's the Air Force, plain low top Air Force. It's funny because we can't keep it in stock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even the Nike store itself can keep enough of them, and we get calls every day.
Interesting.
So it's such a cult classic, and right now it's just pretty much everywhere that you can look at it. So that's basically the Miami look.
Love it. It's such a classic, and can never go wrong with them. Have so many pairs, even though I work at Adidas. So tell me.
Yeah, of course.
But so Air Force is one of your best selling shoes. What are some of your other like top sellers when it comes to footwear?
So actually we work with Golden Goose, which is a really cool Italian company. Exactly. So it gives you that distressed look that a lot of people enjoy. Some other people are kind of afraid of it. And they're kind of puzzled when they walk into the store and they see, and they really think that we're selling them kind of like a used shoe. But of course, you just have to explain to them that it's completely handmade, and it's basically a piece of art. It's very artisanal in the way that they for it. So I got a model right here actually that is one of our best sellers. Of course, people really like multi-skin compositions of it, and of course you have to have a little bit of glitter. Like if you're gonna drop a little bit of check on this one, you need to make sure it stands out. So honestly, our biggest seller right now, it's the brand On Running that I was telling you before. It has surpassed pretty much any type of other sales that we have made, even Nike, which was our biggest seller before. And I think it has a lot to do with this shoe right here, which is the Roger. This is the center core, which is basically, in my opinion, the new Stan Smith. Just more lightweight. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's highly popular with all type of demographics. Anybody from 6 years old to 50 something really enjoys the shoe, find it really comfortable and just a really easy wear. So when you can't find the Air Forces, this is your go-to after that. Also, my favorite is New Balance, to be honest. New Balance had such a great year.
Man, I've been trying. I've been trying. I can't get my hands on a pair.
I'm a sucker for collabs. I think it's a really cool way to reach different basically ideas and bring them together. So while it's not the $1 million d'Ore, it's still the shoe of the year, in my opinion, the 550. We just actually got this colorway that we call it UNC. And it's so comfortable. It gives you like that 80s basketball comfort, right? So we're excited to see where New Balance is going after that. Any 995s, any of that kind of like that look. We're really looking forward to it. That's basically some of our best sellers. Of course, you have Adidas. Adidas is just killing it steadily. They have the 4D, which is still one of my favorite shoes. So
super comfortable.
I think it's such a cool technology and the way that they construct the shoe itself, right?
So cool.
And it also comes down to the forum lows, which it's kind of like Adidas shoe of the year. They've seen like the craziest collabs, Home Alone. These are now cool classics. Bad Bunnies, which did stellar for us. My God, man. Even the Jeremy Scotts, he brought back the wings this year.
I was so excited by that.
We haven't seen those in 4 years, so we were kind of excited to see them again. Chunky sneakers, basically memorabilia, like anything from the 90s to the 70s. That's the sweet spot for us right now.
Okay, love it. I definitely need to try on those On Running shoes you shared. They look really comfortable, and New Balance has just been killing it when it comes to partnerships and collabs this year. Man,
so exciting.
It's like it's so exciting, and every single one.
It's a good time to be a sneakerhead, as you said.
I think so. So we talked about boutique, we talked about some of your favorite shoes, some of your best sellers, some of the trends for the season. So to anyone tuning in who would love to eventually like own a shop like this one day, what advice would you give to those listeners who are trying to break into the industry? Whether it's owning a boutique like Addict, or getting into consignment, or working at a boutique in various roles like you did and climbing up the ranks. What advice would you give to those people?
Well, just to enjoy your passion. Essentially,
Yeah.
you got into the business because you love something and you love what you do. So that translates into customer service, which is your biggest asset. If you can't move the product, then you have unfortunately not much to say. So focus yourself on the people, on your community. Make sure that you benefit anybody that touches your store. You give them information. You basically want to educate them to the point they don't want to hear about it anymore.
Right.
And yeah, basically open up your space for brands, up and coming brands. That's what it's really
Super
gotten us
important.
to the point where we're at right now. That we really like to explore up and coming brands. We give them a shot. Local brands. You can always come to us, and we'll give you a try, and we'll show you what we can do with you. And then see where you take your products. We really like to see people flourish.
Amazing.
So, it's basically about sharing your passion with other people. And then everything else is secondary, I would say.
Amazing. Definitely starts with passion and also community. You spoke about that, and creating opportunities to elevate up and coming artists and talent is so crucial, and not just like a great way to build your community, but to show your community you care about them. So definitely on the same page there, and appreciate what you do. So taking a look at the chat, have a first question love to ask you. How does a boutique store keep its clients beyond just gear? So you spoke a little bit about that loyalty and community, but what are some of the ways that you focus on that client loyalty and keep them
basically
coming back?
everybody that walks through the door has to have like the most amazing experience, right? You don't want to feel like you're being rushed to by anything. Also, we have a great online personality where we do raffles, for the hard to get. It's the only way to do kind of things right now, unfortunately. But we do enjoy having the outreach locally and internationally, because it's a bigger platform now. So basically what you want to do is take care of the locals and people abroad as well. Make sure that your online sales are always perfect, and the less mistakes the better, basically. And whoever is human, but basically you just want to give the best service possible that will guarantee many returns.
Amazing. Definitely appreciate that. And when it comes to Addict as a boutique and like the growth that you see for the brand, where do you want Addict to be 5 years from now?
We always really enjoy the kith message, right? Where you start basically locally, and then you just kind of brand yourself in the right way. And then of course now you have Coca-Cola, you have Disney, you have all over the right. So those type of opportunities are great, and we look forward to basically exploring those areas and just working our way from in out to the world like we've been doing.
Amazing. And on the topic of collabs, Kith, New Balance, two brands whose collaborations, probably like their approach to collaborations and the collabs that they've secured are like so top tier.
Your machine is crazy.
It's like from BMW to Coke to like, it's just insane. So what would your dream collab be for Addict, and what celebrity perhaps for a partnership?
Wow, I mean, it's a really loaded question, because we would like to work with anybody in any field. We were kind of excited to hear that Daniel Harsham was kind of being part of running in a sort of creative role. So he's a big inspiration to the aesthetics of what we really like nowadays. So anything with him, architecture is really close to kids. So we kind of really like that symbiosis they got.
Love that.
So we just really would like to work with influential artists that actually have something to say, and that basically can just better things around them, not just put out material.
Right. people who care and have the same like shared values as you.
Right.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
wishing the best for you all and hope that you get those dream collaborations. I'll definitely be visiting Addict next time I'm in Miami, which hopefully can be soon.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. But Pablo, it was very nice to meet you. I really appreciated the conversation. Everyone tuning in, make sure you follow Addict on Instagram at Addict. Make sure you're following yellowbrick.sneakers. And that brings us to the end of the conversation. But yeah, it was very nice to meet you. Very nice to speak
Nice to
with
meet you
you,
too,
and
Catherine.
appreciate everyone for tuning in. Thank you.
Have a good night. Bye.
Have a good night.